Marvel just pulled off something almost nobody noticed. The more I rewatched the Avengers Doomsday trailer, the more one thing became clear. This trailer isn't just teasing an epic battle, it's quietly changing the way we look at Doctor Doom. We've already covered a lot of the obvious details, but every rewatch keeps revealing new clues hidden in plain sight. Marvel packed this trailer with tiny visual hints, and honestly, the attention to detail is incredible. If these theories turn out to be true, Doomsday could easily become one of the MCU's biggest movies ever. I've also seen a lot of fans saying this trailer didn't create the same hype as Brand New Day. So I'm curious, which trailer got you more excited? Let me know in the comments before we dive in. Now here's something really interesting. Only 3 characters provide voice-over narration throughout the entire trailer. Dr. Doom, Thor, and Steve Rogers. That can't be a coincidence. Marvel is essentially telling this story through the voices of these 3 characters. Now pay close attention to Doom's dialogue. He's talking about a massive threat that's coming, something nobody will be able to stop. But here's the strange part. Doom himself is supposed to be that threat. So why does he sound like someone trying to warn everyone instead of someone planning to destroy them? That actually lines up with one of the biggest rumors surrounding this movie. According to several leaks, Doom doesn't begin the story as the main villain. Instead, he initially works alongside the Avengers, helping them deal with the Incursion crisis before eventually becoming the true enemy. And honestly, this trailer supports that idea. Take the scene where Thor attacks Doom. Look beyond the fight itself, the location feels very familiar. To me, it doesn't look like the Void, it looks much closer to the battlefield we've seen in those leaked set photos featuring the Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and giant Sentinels. Remember those leaks? Doom was standing against everyone in what looked like one massive showdown. This could easily be that exact sequence. Now look at Thor. He charges straight at Doom by himself. Classic Thor. We already know what Stormbreaker is capable of. It pierced through the full power of the Infinity Stones and struck Thanos himself. That's one of the strongest weapons in the MCU, yet Doom stops its full force with just 2 fingers. Does that mean Doom is physically stronger than Thor? I don't think so. Watch the scene closely. You'll notice green magical energy mixing with the impact effects. Those green sparks are important because they suggest Doom isn't overpowering Stormbreaker with raw strength. He's using magic, his signature green magic. And if you look carefully at his hands, it almost seems like he's channeling another source of power while blocking Thor's attack. There's another detail hidden on his armor. For a brief moment, you can spot an emblem on Doom's chest. Interestingly, it looks very similar to the Kree symbol associated with Captain Marvel. Now this is just a theory, but what if every powerful hero Doom defeats leaves behind more than just a victory? What if he actually absorbs part of their abilities? That could explain why different symbols appear across his armor. Some fans even believe one of those markings represents ancient Norse magic. If that's true, then one possibility immediately comes to mind: Loki. Because where is Doom's green magic coming from? Yes, comic fans know Doom has always been a powerful sorcerer, and green energy has long been connected to his magic. But inside the MCU, green magic instantly reminds everyone of Loki. So what if Doom has already taken Loki's power before the events of this movie? Just imagine Thor's perspective. He's not just fighting Doom, he's watching someone use his brother's own magic against him. That completely changes the emotional weight of this fight. And honestly, Thor has been here before. He lost badly against Hela. He was overwhelmed by Thanos at the beginning of Infinity War. Marvel loves giving Thor his biggest defeat before setting up his comeback, which is exactly why I think this battle won't be the end of Thor's story. He may lose here, but his real moment could come later, not in Doomsday, but in Secret Wars. Because if Marvel follows even part of the comics, Thor could end up playing a major role in Doom's final defeat, or perhaps something even more unexpected. Now here's where things start getting really interesting, because the more you look at Doom, the less he feels like a traditional villain, and the more he starts looking like someone who's fighting for a reason. Take another look at his armor. That emblem on his chest isn't the only unusual detail. There are several markings across the suit. And if the earlier theory is true, they could represent powers Doom has collected from different heroes. Again, nothing is confirmed, but Marvel clearly wants us to pay attention to those details. Now let's go back to the green magic. If Doom really is using Loki's power, then one question immediately comes up. What happened to Loki? Did Doom defeat him before the movie even begins? Or did Loki willingly give up his power for a much bigger purpose? Either way, if Thor realizes that the magic being used against him once belonged to his brother, this fight instantly becomes personal. Now let's talk about one of the trailer's most mysterious shots, the giant painting. Most fans immediately assumed the woman standing beside Doom was his mother, and honestly that makes sense. The artwork itself shows heaven above and hell below. Comic readers know exactly why that's important. Doom's mother, Cynthia Von Doom, sacrificed her soul to Mephisto. Saving her became one of the biggest reasons Doom studied magic in the first place. He didn't learn magic simply to become stronger. He learned it because he wanted to save his mother. But what if the MCU changes that story? Because I don't actually think the woman in the painting is his mother. I think she could be his wife, and the child beside them could be his son. Marvel has combined comic storylines before, so it's entirely possible they'll merge Cynthia's tragic story with Doom's own family. Maybe Mephisto takes his wife's soul instead. Maybe that's what pushes Doom toward forbidden magic. If that's true, then every decision Doom makes suddenly has an emotional reason behind it. Now connect that with the Incursion crisis. Imagine losing your family, your universe, and realizing the multiverse itself is collapsing. At that point, Doom's mission isn't just about gaining power, it's about getting his family back. And that's exactly why I don't think Marvel is planning to kill him. If they stay close to the comics, Secret Wars could end very differently. Instead of defeating Doom forever, the heroes could redeem him, restore his face, allow him to return to Latveria, and finally give him the peaceful life he always wanted with his family. That would be a much more emotional ending than simply killing another villain. Now here's another detail. Throughout several scenes, Doom isn't wearing his mask. That's unusual. Marvel could have hidden his face until release, but they didn't. They intentionally show Victor without the mask during emotional moments. There's even a scene where Franklin Richards appears to be inside the Fantastic Four's home and Doom is standing there without his mask. Why? Maybe because he doesn't see Franklin as an enemy. Maybe he sees someone who reminds him of his own son. It sounds crazy, but emotionally, it actually works. Now let's go back to Loki for a second. Several leaked clips claim Doom later uses green energy to reactivate destroyed Sentinels during one of the biggest battles. And if you watch Thor's fight carefully, you can actually spot broken Sentinel parts nearby. If those leaks are real, then Doom isn't just using magic, he's commanding an army. And if that magic truly came from Loki, then Doom may already be operating on an entirely different level before the Avengers even realize he's become the real threat. Which raises one terrifying possibility. By the time everyone finally understands what Doom is really planning, it may already be impossible to stop him. Now, let's talk about the shot that might reveal how this entire movie begins. Right in the middle of the trailer, we get a quick glimpse of Loki. It only lasts a second, but I think it's far more important than it looks. Some fans believe this scene could actually be connected to the additional footage reportedly being added to the Endgame re-release. And honestly, that theory isn't impossible. Since Doomsday directly continues the multiverse storyline that began after Endgame, but Marvel could easily use those extra scenes to bridge the gap. But whether it's part of Endgame or the opening of Doomsday, I think the purpose stays the same. Loki is there to warn Steve Rogers. According to several rumors, Loki is one of the first people to realize that the Incursion event is about to destroy multiple universes. So instead of showing up as a villain, he arrives as a messenger, almost like a TVA agent. He's basically telling Steve, if you stay here, this universe won't survive. You need to come with me. That would be the perfect way to pull Steve back into the story. There's another interesting detail too. Some theories claim Loki even shows Steve a TVA ID to prove who he is. After everything that's happened between them, Steve wouldn't just trust anyone. Now connect that to another scene from Fantastic Four First Steps. There's a brief shot where two people are watching a Fantastic Four cartoon. Most people ignored it. But what if those two are actually Steve Rogers and his son? Think about the timeline. The child shown there would be much older by the time Doomsday begins. And later in the trailer, Steve has a longer beard, longer hair, and looks noticeably older. Time has clearly passed. Then we see another young man standing behind Steve. At first, I thought it could be Spider-Man, then maybe another young hero. But what if it's actually Steve's son? If Loki brings Steve back into the fight, it would make sense for Steve's family to become part of the story as well. That would raise the emotional stakes immediately. Now let's move to another major scene. Reed Richards is explaining the Incursion event to everyone, but the framing feels unusual. There are visible gaps between several heroes, almost like someone important has been hidden from us, or maybe we're actually seeing this entire meeting from Doom's point of view. The camera sits farther back than you'd normally expect, as if someone is silently watching every hero in the room. If that's Doom, it's a brilliant way to introduce him without making it obvious. Then Thor delivers what sounds like a huge motivational speech. He's telling everyone to put their differences aside because a much bigger threat is coming. But I don't think he's talking about Doom, not yet. Look closely. None of the heroes look like they've already survived a massive battle. Their suits are clean, the room isn't damaged, everything still feels under control. Compare that to Thor's later fight with Doom. That battlefield is completely destroyed. So I think this speech happens before Doom reveals his true plan. At this point, the Avengers believe someone else is the enemy, the X-Men. Behind Thor, you can even see diagrams explaining the Incursion event. Two universes are on a collision course. From the Avengers' perspective, the X-Men could easily look like the ones threatening their world. That would explain why so many trailer shots show Avengers fighting X-Men instead of fighting Doom. Both sides think they're saving their own universe. Meanwhile, Doom quietly watches everything unfold, because while the heroes are busy fighting each other, he gets one step closer to his real objective, and that's where Doom's real plan may finally begin. What if in the beginning he isn't fighting against the Avengers' odds, but fighting with them? Think about it. If Reed is explaining the Incursion crisis to everyone, Doom already knows exactly what's happening. By helping the Avengers and the Fantastic Four understand the threat, he immediately earns their trust, and that's what makes him so dangerous. He's not manipulating them with lies, he's manipulating them with the truth. Now look at another small detail hidden in the trailer, the countdown clock. It's constantly ticking. To me, that means the heroes don't have weeks or even days left. They probably only have hours before the universes collide. That explains why every decision feels so urgent. There simply isn't time to waste. Now imagine this. While the Avengers and the X-Men are busy fighting each other, Doom never tries to stop the collision. He lets it happen, because maybe that's exactly what he wants. Three different universes: the Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four. Instead of saving them separately, he merges them into one. Battleworld. Think about it. As long as multiple universes continue existing, incursions will never truly stop. Another collision will always happen. Another world will always be destroyed. But if every surviving universe becomes one reality, the incursions could finally end forever. From Doom's perspective, that's not destruction. That's salvation. One world, one future, and maybe one final chance to bring his family back. Which brings us to Franklin Richards. One thing stood out immediately. During the massive gathering of heroes, Franklin is nowhere to be seen. That's strange, because someone with his level of power should be one of the most important characters in the room. I don't think Marvel forgot him. I think they're hiding him, because Franklin's reality warping abilities could be the final piece Doom needs to complete his plan. Now notice another moment. The heroes eventually split into different teams. Some continue fighting the X-Men, others head somewhere else entirely. There's even a scene where Johnny Storm embraces someone. We never clearly see who it is. But what if it's Franklin? If Doom is holding the most powerful child in the multiverse, one team could distract Doom while another races to rescue Franklin before Doom can use his powers. That would explain why certain heroes suddenly disappear from the main battlefield. Everyone isn't fighting the same mission. Now let's talk about Namor. His kingdom looks completely different. Instead of being surrounded by water, the entire area looks dry. And honestly, I don't think Namor has the power to hold back an entire ocean like that. Sue Storm does. Imagine Sue creating a gigantic invisible force field around the city, keeping the water out completely. That feels much more believable, especially if Franklin has somehow amplified her abilities, and strategically, it weakens Namor. Without water, he's nowhere near his full strength. Maybe Sue isn't trying to defeat him. Maybe she's trying to force him to listen, to convince him before another war begins. Now let's jump to the trailer's ending. Captain America lifts Mjolnir, but Thor's reaction feels different. He's shocked, almost emotional. Maybe because he thought Steve was gone, or maybe that isn't Steve at all. We've seen Loki disguise himself as Captain America before. Could Marvel be doing it again? It's definitely possible. And after everything Loki sacrificed to protect the multiverse, who's to say he isn't finally worthy of lifting Mjolnir? There's another possibility too. Maybe Doom has already taken Loki's power. Thor isn't reacting to Steve. He's reacting to seeing his brother's magic in someone else's hands. Finally, we reach Doom's entrance. He slowly rises into the air as if he's becoming something greater than ever before. This doesn't feel like the introduction of Victor Von Doom. It feels like the birth of the true Doctor Doom. There's even a theory that the Steve Rogers standing in one of these shots isn't actually Steve. It could be Doom in disguise, or even a corrupted Steve variant. The red lighting behind Thor almost feels like Marvel quietly hinting that someone standing among the heroes isn't who they appear to be. And if that's true, then this trailer has been misleading us from the very beginning.